Hello and welcome to the 3-time award-winning Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you while increasing the amount of female role models in the media. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. If you love adventure, challenge, and hearing from women who share their stories and provide top tips and advice to help you take on your own personal challenges, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. New episodes go live every Tuesday at 7 a.m. UK time, with bonus episodes happening on a Thursday. You can support the Tough Girl mission by signing up as a patron by visiting Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. Keep listening until the very end as I share more information about what's going on with me, with Tough Girl challenges, give shout outs, and recommend other Tough Girl podcast episodes. More information can be found at toughgirlchallenges.com.
My name's Tinuke and I am a professional adventurer. I am based in London, but I spend most of my time trying to get out of London, to be honest. Born and bred London gal. I am your number one daredevil. So all kinds of outdoor sports, extreme outdoor sports, lots of like camping, lots of hiking, bit of an adrenaline junkie by nature. So getting out of my comfort zone is my favourite place to be. And yeah, that's a bit about me, really.
Oh, I love it. So were you like a little daredevil when you were a child growing up? You know, were you brought up, even though you're like a London girl, were you spending time like outdoors? Did you get to go camping and hiking and go on adventures?
Yeah, definitely was encouraged to be outside as much as possible. My mum was, she was also an absolute daredevil. So she used to take me outside of school when, you know, you didn't get arrested for doing that back in the day. She used to take me out to school and go camping weekends and lots of outdoor activities. And it was definitely sort of like an education of like, not just about the schoolroom, just like about the world and about learning from nature as well. That was definitely a big part of my upbringing. So running around like a tomboy in the woods was part of the reason why I am who I am.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Like, did you ever even think that actually I could become like a professional adventurer? I could make this passion like my full-time job?
So what is actually hilarious is the other day I was doing lots of moving of like attic stuff, and I was reminded by these hundreds of tapes that I have of a trip that I did with my mum when I was 8 years old, from like all the way up from Canada, all the way down to El Paso, like just before Mexico. And I was the presenter of these like home videos. And it would be, so I was an adventure presenter, and that was like my dream job when I was 8 years old. And I would like be like, hi guys, today we're in the Grand Canyon and we're going to go hiking down, blah, 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 like an absolute loser. And then fast forward like 30 years and I've gone full circle. It's exactly where I wanted to be when I was 8 years old. So that was an amazing realization the other day. I've definitely had a lot of other jobs in between then and now, but yeah, it's full circle, which is a lovely thing to realize.
Do you know what? That is really lovely. Like, and I know you just said like loser, but I'm thinking that is so really awesome that you've got those memories available.
No, believe me, I do look like a loser. I really do look like a loser.
No, I don't. I do not accept that. I'm not accepting it. I think that's friggin' cool to be out there doing that. Where did it really sort of, I suppose, start for you? Was it Survivor? Was that when you really started to make it on TV, or was there anything which happened before Survivor?
So before Survivor, I was a professional roller skater. I was traveling the globe doing lots of disco roller skating stuff, which was absolutely incredible. Got a couple of Guinness World Records under my belt in that time as well. That was like 10 years. And then I had quite a lot of like tragedy go on at home. I lost all of my sort of immediate family, my like cousin who was like my brother, and my mum and my dad. And I basically went into a bit of a hole for a couple of years, as you can imagine. And I started adventuring and doing a lot of outdoor adventure healing, which I like to call it, which I've now realized is what I was doing. But I was doing a lot of that in those 3 years. And then when I started to sort of like have a bit of a hold over myself a little bit more and have a little bit more grasp on, you know, getting through all of that trauma, I was like, oh my God, like, hold on a minute. This is literally my favorite thing to do. I love being outdoors all the time. How can I make this into my full-time career? So I applied for Survivor, and then that was a sort of springboard into making it my full-time life rather than just something I did as a hobby or as like just outside of roller skating. So that was about a year ago, to be fair.
So you were in Survivor, you were contestant Survivor UK 2023. What was that like?
Survivor was amazing, like absolutely amazing. One of the most brutal things I've ever done in my entire life. Like, I loved the living out in the wild. I loved the like physical aspect of it, all the challenges, all of that was incredible. That's so up my alley. The psychological side, I don't know if you've seen Survivor, but it is absolutely brutal psychological wise. So that side of things really was definitely the most challenging for me. But living out in the wild and jumping off boats and swimming down and collecting keys and all of that stuff, I absolutely loved it.
Did you train for this? Like, did you have like a couple of months to train and prepare? Like, were you at the gym working out? Were you practicing like your dead hangs and breath holds and, various things like that? Did you have a plan, a strategy before you went in there?
So the audition process was very long. It was about 6 months of me auditioning and going in and out of doing different tests and things like that. So I did have quite a long time to sort of prepare before I went in whilst I was in the audition process. On top of that, I'm an absolute exercise addict. So I spend most of my time making sure that I'm super fit anyway. So I was already kind of ready for it. Like I used to be a Pilates instructor and all of that. So I was ready, and it was quite a nice thing to work towards, to be honest. In terms of like psychological training, I did do quite a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do normally, like reading books on body language. I did a lot of CSI, like, like FBI sort of like techniques on interrogation and stuff like that. But the physical side I had down. It was just the psychological side I had to practice a bit more.
Are you competitive? I feel like that. I feel like to say like yes, like you must be.
Who, me? No,
You?
no, not. You've got the wrong kind of gal. No, yeah, no, I'm definitely quite competitive. Definitely. But I love it. All healthy competition. I like being pushed. And yeah, I mean, most of the time, the only person I'm competing against is myself yesterday, which is my toughest competition, is always myself. But when it comes into a competition like Survivor, yeah, it was pretty apparent I'm competitive across the board.
Yeah. What was the hardest thing for you being out there? Because it's all, I don't know, like I'm almost like, was it hard for you? Like, bearing in mind that, you shared about the sort of the trauma and the tragedy that you've been through, which just sounds, horrendous and brutal. And obviously this is very difficult to compare, but like, was it that challenging, that difficult, or were you just, I don't know, like prepared and ready and just embracing it all?
I mean, I it's tough to say in terms of like what I've been through in my life. Was it the toughest thing I've ever done? No. But like you said, all the stuff that I've been through makes my tough tougher than normal, I suppose. So that show for me was just like, let's go. Also, I'm a very like adaptable person. So when you're in a situation where you're in the show and you have no contact to the outside world for, it was 2 months that I had like absolutely no phone, no contact with anyone apart from the people I was with. You just sort of adapt to the situation that you're in. And it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. Like, who was I before I lived on the beach and ate shells? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just become that person. So, in terms of what I've been through in my entire life, it was definitely one of the toughest things, but it wasn't the toughest thing. But I definitely came out a tougher person. I wouldn't, like, looking back, I wouldn't not do it. I loved it.
Yeah. Did you get the adventure blues when you came back to after spending all this time like on the beach and doing these competitions and suddenly you're back in like London and it's cold and grey and miserable, and it's like, whoa, like this is a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, 100%. There was about 3 months when I came out of the show where I just couldn't find my feet back in reality again. And especially as, like what I said, when your whole reality is the people that you've been with, and then all of a sudden you're ripped out from their company and you're on your own in the big wide world. I found a lot of separation anxiety to do with the people that I was with and the environment that I was in. And also, we weren't allowed to talk about the show for another maybe like 4 months or so. So I sort of just went back to work, pretended that like all of that just hadn't happened. And it was a very hard time to get used to being like back in reality for sure.
Are you still friends with the people from the show?
I'm friends with some people from the show. But
What's the
people
drama?
are
Spill the drama.
what's the tea? What's the tea, honey? Yeah, obviously the show was quite brutal. It's all like, yeah, I mean, it's all said and done now, and the show's the show, and people are just, no, we're all hustling for 100 grand. Let's be real. But yeah, there's a couple of people who I'm still very, very close with, like Doug and like Leilani and like Nathan. They are my three absolute boos. I speak to them quite regularly, so that's lovely.
When you came back, you've had this amazing experience. And actually, you've talked about adventure, healing, and also, reminiscing from childhood that this little devil. Like I don't even I like this little cute little devil. This passion for the outdoors. How did you start changing your life? Like, are you so when I quit my job in banking and I went traveling for a couple of years and moved back home with my parents, and then when I started Tough Girl Challenges, I wrote, I'm a bit of a planner. I wrote like this 200-page business plan of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And I was going to blog and do all these things. Are you a planner? Like, do you have like a strategy, or are you more go with the flow? Are you like, I've got things I want to do and I want to achieve, and I'm going to tick them off like my bucket list? How do you plan and prepare for the future?
So I am a massive, massive manifester, like big time. I have very clear goals of what I want to achieve in a reasonably short space of time. I try not to give myself longer than like 6 months because I'm an Aries and I get mad impatient. So I give myself like short-term goals, but are very clear. I work like an absolute tiger, make sure that those goals happen. So one of the goals was like, I think it was my manifesting I did last year. It was like, be on Survivor, and that was it. And I did everything in my power to make sure that I made that happen, and it happened within 6 months, which I'm very, very happy about. And then after that, I was like, okay, make sure that you are job as a Pilates instructor and be a full-time adventurer. And then that was that goal. Do you know what I mean? I give myself very short-term goals, and I do everything in my power to make sure it happens. I can be an absolute like what's the word? Tunnel vision focus on a short-term goal. And then once it's done and I've got the t-shirt, I'm on to the next one.
Do you do anything specific to manifest?
So I do lots of vision boarding, and so my mum, she was like quite big into spirituality, manifesting. She was sort of like training to be a shaman. So I do lots of like spiritual practices and things like that, like meditating, lots of crystals. And my vision boards are usually something that I do quite regularly being maybe every 6 months or every like 3 to 6 months. And that's quite a private process for me, where I take a couple of days out to plan what I want for the next 3 to 6 months. And then, yeah, and I usually do it like, if I'm doing my visual vision boarding, mm, I make quite a big importance on making it important. So I'll take a whole weekend off and I'll go away and go camping or something, or completely on my own, and spend a whole weekend planning exactly what I want the next 6 months of my life to look like in private. So I put a lot of importance on making sure that it's a special moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. This is so interesting because I do vision boards as well. But
Amazing.
I don't really think that short term. I think super long term. So I think in like years, like a 5 year, 10 year plan of
Love
what I
that.
want to achieve in like the decade. And now it's like I honestly I find this stuff like fascinating because it makes me think, okay, maybe I need to get short term, like 3 months, and really like focus in and dial it in. Whereas I'm literally like, okay, well, I know I mean, recently I've been thinking it's like 17 years until I turn 60. And I'm like,
Okay.
well, that's one big adventure or one big challenge each year. What are they going to be? What am I going to do each year, sort of thing? And not that it's going to happen like, in 2026, like, do I go to Korea, or 2027? Do I go and walk the PCT, or 2028, go and, go and visit elsewhere? But just have like a rough idea of the challenges that I want to do. But I love this actually making it smaller, like this 3 6 months. So would you be willing to share, like, what are you working on the next sort of 3 to 6 months, or what are you hoping to achieve in 2025?
Yeah, and I was going to say the reason why I do short term ones is just like I said, is because I know what I need, and that's I need reward for what I'm doing. Otherwise, I get frustrated and I get bored. So I've realized that if I just give myself short term goals that I can achieve quickly and feel good, then I'm like, okay, cool, done, tick, boom, let's go, let's go. And once I've got momentum, that's how I work best. So luckily, actually, one of the vision boards I did last September was that I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro. And I am climbing it in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm climbing Kilimanjaro, which I'm very excited about. So I managed to make that one happen. And then my 6 month one was, wow, that one's a little bit specific and I don't want to jinx it.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that.
I was like, oh, I don't want to say that one. Look, as soon as it happens, which it will happen, then I'll be like, this was the one that I was talking about, and I can share it then once it's happened. But my short term one was that I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro, and it's happening in 2 weeks. So let's go.
And so is that happening, as in, are you being paid to do it? Are you doing it sponsored? Are you doing it for social media with a brand, or are you self-funding it? How's that working?
So I've been hustling my little booty off, and I am going to be working with Intrepid Travel to be promoting their Kilimanjaro trip. So I'm going I suppose, yeah, I'm working, collaborating with Intrepid Travel, and then I get paid by different companies whilst I'm there as well, like what I'm wearing, what I'm eating at the time, what kit I'm using, so that I can sort of fund my time being there. And then I make lots of videos and sort of like blog posts about my trip whilst I'm doing it and afterwards.
Oh, fantastic. And then what are you doing in Belize? How long have you been in Belize for?
So I've been in Belize for 1 week and I'm here for 3 weeks altogether. I'm working with a company called the Noma Collective, which is a sort of like co-working space, but all over the world. They have different places all over the world. And I've come here to promote the company and to talk about what it's like to work with Noma Collective, as in be a be working in a co-working space in different places all over the world. But specifically, I've come here to write a book, which I'm absolutely completely new to. But I'm writing a series of children's books about my life and about being an absolute black adventure babe in the big wide world. And yeah, that's what I'm doing whilst I'm here.
Oh, I love that. That's absolutely awesome. That's going to be so exciting with the books coming out. Are you still roller skating? Have you got your skates with you at the moment?
I do not have my skates with me. No, it's really tough when something becomes work. I spent so long just roller skating, and it was my entire world, but it was work. So after I decided to stop roller skating and start adventuring, it was like I don't want to put my roller skates on for another couple of years. But I do miss them a lot, and I do miss them a lot. So maybe when I get back home, I'll pop them on again and have a little bit of a boogie, but no skates
No
here.
skates.
Also, there's the floor for it in Belize.
Because I was thinking, oh, some of the challenges, because I know you've, like, you've trekked through the Grand Canyon and stuff. I was thinking, did you like skated or like done any of the hikes and stuff? But how was the Grand Canyon?
The Grand Canyon was amazing, but I was thinking about skating from like Europe to like from like London to somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But flexors would probably kill me. But the Grand Canyon, that was an incredible trip. When I was actually doing the trip that I spoke about with my mum when I was 8, we hiked into the Havasupai Reservation in the Grand Canyon, which is an amazing place. And it became the place that I went to anytime I was sort of stressed, like in my mind, anytime I was stressed or overwhelmed or meditating or just needed to like touch base with myself. It became the place that I went back to in my mind to calm me down. And then when my parents died, I went back to the place that I went to with her in real life, and it was completely wild. It's absolutely stunning, and it's a full on incredible hike. I mean, I saw like rattlesnakes, so many scorpions. I was completely on my own, and I was going through water, like wading through water up to my chest, not quite knowing where I was. It was completely mad. And then camping down there for a couple of days on my own, which was a proper tough girl situation, to be honest.
How are you with the cold?
How am I with the cold? I'm okay with the cold. I can be mind over matter, so I can put up with it. I'm not going to say that it's my favorite thing in the world, but usually the landscape is so stunning that it outweighs the bad.
You're doing an Iceland adventure in 2025. Do you want to share more about that?
Yeah. So Iceland is somewhere I've been visiting quite regularly for the past like 8 years. I have some extended family there, so I've been going there a lot, and it's absolutely incredible. And I've normally been going alone, but I've decided to open it up to a group trip and bring whoever wants to come on adventure with me. It's going to be in October, weekend of the 23rd of October, 2025, and we're going off on a mad one.
Tell
Literally.
us more about it. What's going to happen?
So it's literally like all of my favorite things that I love to do in Iceland. We're going to be doing the Golden Circle, which is all of the best sort of hot spots to go and see. Beautiful mountains, glaciers, hiking, climbing. We're going and seeing some of the natural wonders like the geothermal springs and like volcanic beaches. We're fitting a lot in because there's so much to see in Iceland, and it's only like 4 days, and it's the same time as the Northern Lights. So we're going to be adventuring all day and Northern Lighting all night. So it's going to be a pretty epic adventure, and I'm really excited not to be on my own this time because I'm normally alone. So I want to show everyone.
And so are you being like the group leader, or are you how's it working, and who are you arranging it, or is this with like another company?
I am, yeah, I'm the host, and I'm working in association with a company who are helping me organize the itinerary and like travel and hotels and all of that jazz. But yeah, I'm the group leader and the host.
Oh my God, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I'll make sure that I include that link.
That'd be great.
When I go on your Instagram, there are so many like amazing videos from you being on a mountain bike, from you scaling walls, swimming with sharks, boxing, thermal pools, holding an ice axe, going on a snowmobile, etc. Which what which obviously goes back to being like the little daredevil, which I absolutely love. With the challenges and stuff, and you feel as though maybe you're being taken outside of your comfort zone. And you said at the start, actually, with regards to, your comfort zone, sorry, your being outside your comfort zone is your comfort zone,
Mhm.
which I find like really, really fascinating, because a lot of people, they end up getting in their habits, their routines, they get into their structure, and they get comfortable with comfort. And this obviously isn't the same for you. And I'd love for you maybe just to share more about, or just sort of advice and tips about how people can get outside their own comfort zone, like how they can take those steps. What advice and tips would you like to share?
Yeah, I always say like comfort zone is not your friend. It feels like it is, and it can be for a little cute little moment, but in the grand scheme of the history of forever, you've got to push your comfort zone. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in the same place. But you have to get a taste for it. you know what I mean? You have to get like a hunger for it. And the only way you get a taste for getting outside of your comfort zone is by doing something that's outside of comfort zone, getting through it, coming out stronger and looking back and thinking, wow, I'm such a badass. Look what I did. And then you're like, ooh, you get a little like, you get a taste for it. So you've just got to start, and you've just got to start small, because the key to feeling comfortable with getting outside of the comfort zone is that you have to do it. You have to achieve it. You can't do something, not manage it, and then look back and think that was really fun. You have to start small and something that's achievable. Like, I don't know, going on your first camping trip down the road, going for a hike that's like local to your park, or like a local park or something like that. Just starting small and getting a taste for it each. Don't pick something that's completely wild and then don't manage it, build it up over time. And once you get a bit of momentum, it's a pretty addictive feeling. So be careful what you wish for. Look at me. I'm like strapping myself to planes at this point.
I think one of the things that a lot of women can be quite sort of fearful of is around of they're stepping outside their comfort zone, but then the failure happens, like they don't quite achieve the goal that they set out to achieve. And I'm just wondering, how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, no one likes the feeling of failing something, which is why I always try and start small. But for me personally, I don't know, it's a hard one because each setback, it does set you back a little bit, but I have been through so much. Setbacks are just like, okay, cool, let's do this, let's keep moving. I'm quite a resilient person, and I do allow myself to feel sad with setbacks for a minute. Like, depending on the scale of it, I'll let myself be sad for a bit, but then I'm like, okay, cool, you've done your sad bit, let's get over this, let's move forward, let's move on. I don't allow myself to dwell or to wallow, but I do allow myself to feel sad with a setback. And then I'm like, put on your big girl pants, let's go.
Yeah. I think that can be really powerful, actually, to almost just say, look, I just think it's better to have tried something. And then, okay, yeah,
Mm,
you fail. But sometimes all that's telling you is just like, no, that's just telling you where you're at that moment in time. Like, so just because you haven't reached that goal doesn't mean that you can't try again, do something different, because you will have learned so many lessons along the way to achieving that. You think, okay, well, actually, I don't know, if it's running, for example, and you didn't fuel correctly, and then I always feel funny when I say like you had like a massive bonk and then you didn't reach the end.
yeah,
Then you think, well, actually, that's lesson as okay, well, I got to 21 miles or whatever it was, and actually, I need to dial in my fueling, or maybe I need to, work with a coach or speak with a professional, somebody who can help me take that next step. Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
really, really interesting.
yeah. And I suppose it's also like the only way that you're learning your own pattern, right? So it's like, if you've dealt with failure badly in the past, you just need to recognize that this is a pattern that you do. And when you're presented with it again, be like, okay, there's a moment here where I could deal with this badly, or I could choose to do something about it rather than just pretending it didn't happen and ignoring it. Like you said, every failure is a lesson if you treat it like a lesson. All your failures don't have to be failures if you make something good out of it. You just have to be actively making the right choice to do something about it each time, which is really boring sometimes, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. Your mum was obviously such an incredible inspiration to you, and in how she brought you up and how she inspired you. Who are the other women that inspire you, especially in like the outdoor space?
Oh, you know what? I really, really, really love Ness Knight. Like, I've always loved her. She is so much more than just like Bear Grylls' right hand babe. She's like, she I think that's how she sort of like started to become into the public eye a little bit more. But she's done so much amazing stuff for the community, for the outdoor space, for women in outdoor space. And she's just basically like Lara Croft. Like, she's an absolute badass. So she's always been a proper inspiration of mine, is Ness Knight.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's been on the Tough Girl podcast actually before. She shared her story, and I met her at the National Outdoor Expo. But the thing that surprised me is she's so tiny. Like she's like really
Yeah.
petite and little, and I always think she's so much like bigger. I don't mean that in a negative way, but just as in like she just like you said, like it's like Lara Croft, and you actually like
Yeah.
and like she's done what did she swim down? No, she swam the Thames and like she did something on the Mississippi. Oh, she's done loads of amazing things. That's awesome. How did you connect with her, or is it you've met her face to face, or is this just online inspiration?
It's just started off as online inspiration, but I've met her a couple of times face to face, once at the National Outdoor Expo as well, actually. But yeah, I've just been following her like as inspiration for a long time.
No, I love it. Now, on your Instagram, it says adventure gal on a mission to diversify the outdoors. DM me the word adventure to join me. So what happens when people DM you adventure? What happens next?
So I send them all of the information I have about how to join me on my upcoming adventures. That's yeah, it's a pretty cool little automation going on there. But the ones that I have coming up are a multi-day hike through the Lake District in June 2025. Then I have Iceland coming up in October 2025, and then I'm also working on a whitewater rafting multi-day hiking jungle extravaganza in Costa Rica in November 2025. So that's what I've got.
Well, so people definitely need to DM you the word adventure to go and join you. Do you want to share your Instagram handle so people can connect with you?
Yeah. So it's at Tinuke, UKE, and then _ Oyediran. So that's Tinuke Oyediran. Little bit of a complicated name if you're not from Nigeria.
Tinuke, it's not a complicated name. Does it mean, is there any special meaning behind it?
Oh, yeah. It means cherished from conception, which is a beautifully dramatic Nigerian meaning name, which is lovely.
Have you spent much time in Nigeria?
I did, yeah. I used to spend every summer there up until the age of about 16, 17, which was incredible. But yeah, at 16, 17, I started to want to go on holiday with my mates instead rather than going back home.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, Tinuke, I'd love for you to have the final words of wisdom, final words of advice for other women out there who also want to have more adventure in their life. They want to go on more challenges. Apart from just do it, what advice would you like to share? And you can take that in any direction you would like.
So, a couple of things, like I've said earlier, start small. And I think a saying that I've been resonating quite a lot with recently is just that life's too short not to take the scenic route. So life's for living, go out there, go for it. The only thing you're going to regret is not giving it a go. So that's what I would say. And start small.
Absolutely. Start small. Tinuke, thank you so much for starting small, and thank you so much for carrying on and for persevering and for living life outside of your comfort zone, and for all the amazing adventures and challenges that you're going on and inspiring other women to go on as well. And best of luck with Kilimanjaro and Iceland and whitewater rafting and multi-day hikes, all the incredible stuff that you've got going on. It's been amazing to speak to you, and I can't wait to follow along with your future adventures and challenges.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. That was super lovely. Big love out there, everybody.
Hey, tribe. How are we all doing? I hope you're all keeping super well. It's Sarah, the host of the Tough Girl podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode with Tinuke. What an absolute inspiration. So everything that we have talked about today will be available in the show notes at toughgirlchallenges.com. So please do go and check it out. Just want to give a big shout out to 2 new patrons. Thank you so much for signing up to support the mission to increase the amount of female role models in the media. Joanne Emery, thank you so much. And Francis McCallum, thank you so much for signing up as new patrons. I really do appreciate your monthly support. It really does make the world of difference having a regular source of income coming in every month. And just know that you are paying it forward. You are helping to encourage more women around the world to take on their own personal adventures and challenges and to step outside their comfort zone. Let me just give you a quick update of who we're going to be speaking to next week. So on the 17th of June, we are going to be speaking to Dr. Sheddy. Dr. Sheddy is a veterinarian who travels throughout Mexico and Central America providing free veterinary care to animals, which she does from her sailboat, Chuffed. Really, really fantastic episode. She talks more about her career, her early years, how she became a vet, the challenges involved in that. She talks about some different animals, a golden bear, very exciting. Okay, I'm about to tell you, it's a polar bear mixed with a little bit of a grizzly bear. How cool is that? She shares more about working in China and what it's like living in a boat. We talk through those practicalities as well as funding her lifestyle. There's also so many great top tips and pieces of advice for you as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the episodes which are dropping. So new episodes come out every Tuesday with a bonus episode generally happening on a Thursday. I'm trying to get roughly about 6 episodes out every single month. They are released at 7 a.m. UK time. Thank you again for listening. All that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, give it your all, give it 110%, get after it, go for it, believe in yourself because I believe in you. Take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.